How's it going, NPC Nation? And welcome back to a brand new video. This video is going to be called Let's Talk About Empires. Like I said before, I want to make more history videos, and this is one of them I wanted to talk about. Empires, especially two empires that I really want to talk about is the Roman and the Mongol Empire in this video alone. That's why it's Let's Talk About Empires, but it's mostly just two empires. But when you think of empires, you think of the Ottoman, you think of the Mongol Empire, you think of Alexander the Great and his empire, you think of the Roman Empire, the British Empire especially, was something big, the Mongol Empire and all that stuff. But let's talk about Genghis Khan, and then let's get into the Roman Empire. Genghis Khan, we all know who he is. When he was born, it was legend. They said he was holding a blood clot in his hand, and they knew he was the next leader. They all knew that he was going to be destined for greatness, you know? That's what that's supposed to mean in Mongol culture, I think. That's what it's supposed to mean. I really didn't study up on Mongol culture more than himself. I studied up on Genghis Khan and how he ran his empire. One fact about how he ran his empire, when he was in battles with people, especially during the plague era, he threw diseased bodies over, I think it was when he was fighting China, over the Great Wall of China, because if you go around people that had the Black Plague and touch their body, that's why the plague doctor used gloves and the mask, because if you even breathe in that same air around them, you can get the plague. If you touch the bodies, your body is affected with it without wearing protection. If you're wearing gloves, the gloves are affected. But if you're wearing, nothing, no protection, no gloves or anything, and you go around those bodies and touch them, yeah, that he carried disease. There's another statement that he carried diseased rats that had the plague and threw them over as well. That's one thing about the Mongol Empire, that they were ruthless people. Mongolia today is not as bad as it used to be. It's not even that bad, actually. They're nice people now, but back in the Mongol Empire days, you're not supposed to be nice, especially when you're running an empire. When you're capturing people and not really people, but when you're capturing other countries and making them part of one country. That's how most countries got their land, really, and made their country bigger, or their area bigger that they had, because of capturing other places and just absorbing it into one empire. That's what the Mongol Empire was, absorbed it into one empire. That's why Mongolia is such a big place to this day. But it's also another fact that Genghis Khan had such a big family, because that's, if you do any research, he liked to, even though being married, he liked to get down with himself, you know what I mean? So the Mongol Empire, when they captured a place, they took the women. And Genghis Khan, that's why a lot of 8%, I think it's 8 or 1% of Asian people today are descendants of Genghis Khan. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of Asian people that are born today are descendants of Genghis Khan, the leader of the Mongol Empire. But it eventually collapsed after over 160 years, I think. It says 160 years. I think it lasted longer than that. Whatever you search is always different. One search says 160 years, another search says 200 plus years. Because you have to realize, after Genghis Khan passes away, the empire does not automatically go away. It goes to one of his many sons takes over. Then it starts to collapse on itself afterwards. Once Genghis Khan passes away, then it starts to eat itself from within, because power struggle. When you have that many kids, you know you're going to have a power struggle. That's why a lot of people today that are born, a lot of Asian people today that are born are descendants of Genghis Khan because of that reason. Let's go to the Roman Empire now. The Roman Empire lasted a long time. People believe over 1,000 years. The saying Rome wasn't built in a day. It was built over 1,000 days, something like that, or 100 days. Because it was. See, Rome had their period of brutal empire. Then, sorry about shaking the camera. Then they had their period of, we are now sons of the Holy Spirit and the Church. Their Holy Roman Empire. And then the regular one. Which is ironic for Rome, I guess. It's weird. If you know the Christian stories of the Lord, you know what happens there. But never mind all that. Yeah, Julius Caesar, last of the Republicans, the first of the empire, the emperors. Basically, that's what, Augustus Caesar is technically the first. That's if you do your research, is who all historians believe who was the first emperor of Rome. But the last of the Republicans is Julius Caesar. We all know how historians, William Shakespeare even makes a biography on it. He gets stabbed many times by his friend. That's an ERB line as well. ERB. But it's true, he does get betrayed by his friends, because the triumvirate was a thing where it was not really supposed to be one leader. It was supposed to be three leaders. But Caesar didn't want two other people taking all that power. He wanted to be the leader, you know? That was one thing of the Roman Empire. It was trying to technically be its own democracy, kind of. But instead of having one leader, they wanted three, you know? And representatives and all that stuff. They wanted their own representative or triumvirate. But the Roman Empire, it lasted, people say, 1,000 years. It lasted a long time. It really did. From 26 BC to 460, I think 4 or 62 BCE. That's before Christ, and that's before, and then BCE is before Central Europe. So BC came before Central Europe, which is weird. Well, BC technically counts backwards, so you can be born in 40 BC, and then, you know, in 10 BC, well, not BCE, but BC. But the Roman Empire is such an interesting thing. I don't know. I love empires, I really do. I love history. I want to do more history type video where I do more research or what if videos. I might do that in the future. I just want to talk about the empires and all that stuff that might go into a future video. I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, press the share button, press the like button, press the subscribe button, press the bell to stay notified every time I upload a video. I'll see you guys next video. Sorry about the shaking of the camera a lot. I have nowhere to put this computer right now. See you guys next video. Goodbye.